Welcome to the Intentional Awakening Podcast with your hosts, Kathy Brewer and Terry Huberman.
Well, hello there. I'm Terry Huberman, and welcome to the Intentional Awakening Podcast.
And I'm your co-host, Kathy Groover. And as always, we start every episode with an angel card. And this one today is adorable and fun. Celebration!
Ooh, Mama likes.
Take time to recognize and savor what's important to you and honor it with festivities. Rejoice, have fun, and enjoy the party. And what is hilarious is on this card, they always have a little angel drawn. It's dressed like John Travolta.
What?
And it's doing the whatever the hell we call
Staying
that.
alive.
Yeah.
Staying alive.
Whatever that dance movement.
That thing
it's doing that. But we're not going to talk about celebration today, though. As always, we do encourage you to celebrate the wins, celebrate waking up, celebrate the birds in the yard.
Yes.
Why not make it a party? So but our conversation today is about downloads. And I don't mean downloads from your computer, though I kind of think of it similarly. Every once in a while, I'll be just going along with my day and something will pop into my head. But it feels different than just the random thought that pops in your head. It feels like something somehow important. It has a different weight to it, has a different energy to it. It feels different to me in my being. And I have always called those downloads. And then I realized, well, everyone else calls them that too. So
yeah.
I was like, okay, I guess I just tapped into everyone calling them downloads. So I would assume you also have had this experience.
Yes, I do. What's interesting, though, is like from my perspective, I started to get a little bit of a complex of calling it a download because working as a psychic, there are so many skeptics and so many cynics out there. And so they're like, download? Well, how do we know you didn't download it from a computer or you didn't look up the info? And I get that a lot, okay? I get that a lot. So I started to get a complex about using the word download, but I think that's the best way to describe what because it does kind of feel like it's coming down and into you. So I'm going to stick my tongue out to all those cynics out there and this. I don't mind skeptics. It's the cynics that like it's hard. Trust me on that one.
I love that you just like distinguish between those two. That's a very good point. That's just from my own little like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. But it does. It feels how you described it is that there's a heaviness or an importance to it. It's that to me is what makes it a download, other than it feels like it's coming down, because there is some sort of, and it's interesting, but there's some sort of physical sensation in the body. So it's like, it feels like it comes from outside and then within, and speaking energetically, that would be a higher frequency that moves down. And so manifestation or materialization happens when an energy wave is moving slower and lower and it's more dense, which is what we are, mass and matter. So that's why it comes downloaded also, like, because it's the high moving waves coming down into the lower waves and integrating. Right. But it also means that we as a human, our energy is able to receive that download during that time. So we're matching vibrational frequencies at that time.
Yeah. Wow. You explained that in a way that my mind went, because I just thought of it as, when you're downloading on a computer, it goes from the big thing down to the little thing.
To the little thing. Right.
Just exactly just the way I didn't thought about waves and...
I like the science, man. That's who I am.
I appreciate the science because I don't think about things in those terms. To me, I'm just like, oh, it was out there in the universe and now it's in me.
But that's also true. That's also true.
It feels like as you were describing it from the energetic perspective, those movies where the main character, like everything freezes around them. And they have this thought or this image or this remembrance. That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
And there's been times where I'm doing a podcast or a radio show and the host asks me a question and I just eloquently say something. And then later I'll go back and listen to it and go,
that wasn't me.
Did I say that? So there's almost to me a download / channel connection, right?
Correct.
Where it's not me per se, it's coming through me and out of it somehow. I've had that a lot with my husband where we'll get into this conversation. Stuff will just flow out of me and I literally stop and go, why am I not recording this? This is just like, because it just sort of, I don't know where it's coming from.
Yeah.
So that's how I've always felt it. And because I'm in the healing space pretty much most of the day, whether it's the massage or whether it's, coaching or the psychedelic work or Reiki is a huge download for me. The second I put my hands on someone, I'm getting info, I'm seeing ancestors, so for some reason, that's been one of my plug-in places for downloads.
Sure.
If someone's listening to this and they're like, I don't know what the hell you people are talking about. I've never had that happen. Do you have a way to suggest that someone can open up to that or tap into that?
Yes. So if we're going to be practical and pragmatic about it, I would just say shift your attention away from it. Don't try to have it. I mean, if because that's really what's happening. You're getting out of your own way. You're getting out of your head. You're moving aside yourself, which is how this all works anyways, because as we've talked about many times, there's being and doing, right? And so when we are being, that's when we just sort of like are in flow and things can just kind of come in, right? So practically speaking, just stop the way energy works is if you stop paying attention to something, you're not feeding your life force to it. So you're not depleting your field. So nothing's going out. If the whole idea is for this to come in, which is what a download is, you need to have enough energy and you need to reserve and preserve your energy. And the best way to do that is to stop paying attention to something. Especially if it's negative.
Absolutely. Well, and trying, right?
So trying.
Try to stand up right now.
Yeah. You either do or you don't.
Right.
Like you can't not.
Thank you. Yes. Because
I'm here like, well, what does this mean?
Because I've done that to I'm like, try to stand up. And they go, and I'm like, no, you stood up. Try to stand up. And it confuses them. And then I go, it's a struggle.
Yeah.
Trying means you're going to struggle. If you're trying to stand up, it's the struggle of trying. It's not standing up. Right. So stop trying. And I read something there. It might've been Eckhart Tolle or Adyashanti. I don't remember. Anyway, it was, you can't try to have silence. You can't make silence. You have to allow silence.
Allow it.
And I was like, wow, yes, that makes perfect sense.
Yes.
It's just something that is there that when you stop and allow it, that's where the silence comes from. And I think it's the same way with the allowing of those downloads and saying yes to them. Because they used to come to me all the time and I'd be like, I don't want, But then it was like, okay, well, this is happening. So why don't I embrace that and say yes to that? And as soon as I said yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think a lot of people don't think that they're having a download, even though they are, because either they have an expectation of how a download should be, or they're taught that it's not good unless it comes from some source that's probably more in the physical world or something like that. Yeah. But this is something you can actually learn to do because it's innate in us. So you can learn how to receive a download, right? But you also have to be, and this is the thing about this being skeptical. You should always be skeptical, always, because then you question things, right? So if you're skeptical and you're like, well, I'll try this. I'm not sure it's going to work. You leave room for possibility and miracles to come in. So now you can potentially receive this download, right? But if you're like, no, the download has to taste, smell, touch, hear, sound a certain way. And
I must hear a bell and it must be a Tuesday and there's a golden light.
And if it doesn't, it's not. Well, then you will still have the downloads, but you just won't get the benefit of them, or you won't the acknowledgement, or
you won't recognize them. Well,
the recognition.
It's the whole story. Oh man, it is that expectation, right? And what we think something should be. It reminds me of that story of, there's a flood and this guy's stuck on the house and he's like, please God help.
Yeah.
Somebody said, and a boat comes and he doesn't get in, and a helicopter comes and he doesn't get in. Finally, the guy dies and gets to heaven and says, why didn't you help me? And God's like, what? I sent a boat and a helicopter and what?
Why didn't you? Yeah.
We have this idea of what it's supposed to look like. And so often it doesn't. And, I was an actress in Hollywood for 10 years. My goal was to be on stage forever. And when I left Hollywood, to me, it was such a failure, right? I look back and go, it was not a failure.
No, of course not.
But it's like, I'm still on stage. I'm just a motivational speaker. I still wrote books. I still was on a billboard in Times Square. I was still on a magazine cover. It just wasn't Tiger Beat. And I wasn't being interviewed by Ralph Macchio.
Right.
It's like, but so I got the things, they just looked different.
Yeah.
And I could have fought against that and said, no, I don't want to be a speaker. I want to be an actor. I'm on stage all the time.
Yeah.
So it's a different example, but it's similar in that it looks different, but I still got what I wanted.
Yeah.
So if you want downloads, there's that allowing, there's that relaxing into it. There's not trying, and just saying yes when it does happen and expect it in a different outfit than maybe you thought it was going to be wearing.
The other thing that's coming through is that if you think you have one or having one and they're not sure, most people would probably keep it to themselves. I'm going to say share it with someone else.
Yeah.
Because in that sharing, there could be information that you divulge that will actually help someone else, but they could also validate you. And like when I'm teaching people how to access their intuition and how to amplify it, I'm telling them you can't do this without validation. So if you think you're having a download or you're not sure, talk to someone about it who won't judge you, because you do want to feel safe and emotionally safe. So if you know, like your mom is like, oh no, we believe in Jesus and there's no way and this is the devil and all of that, like maybe don't go to her.
Yeah, maybe not.
But you're a friend, go and just say the weirdest thing happened and da-da-da-da-da, right? Because on some level, even though you're being skeptical, which again is healthy, where you're questioning and you're seeking, you never know what path that can take you in. And on some level, it may be subconscious. It is a type of allowance that maybe another one can come and then another one. And then you're like, I think I'm actually having downloads. And then you embrace the fact that you're having downloads.
And you start to feel the difference between what is a random thought and what is a download. And we have just a minute left, but when I would do Reiki, I would get downloads.
Yeah, yeah.
And I would be prompted to ask a question that I'm like, and I was still in this burnt at the stake stage where I was so afraid to just say to my client, hey, so I'm getting this feeling of, so I would ask for sort of like dance around permission first, like, how do you feel about ghosts? Or, how do you feel about, I would test the waters to make sure they weren't going to think I was a freak, which I am, which is fine. But there was one session, I so remember, I was in my apartment in Santa Barbara. I didn't have an office yet, and I'm doing Reiki on this woman. And this idea of fairies came into my head. Fairies. And I'm like, shut up. It was like, ask her about fairies. And I'm like, I can't ask her about fairies. So it was like, neat, mom. And so I finally said, I have a very weird question for you. I said, I'm sorry. I said, I just ask what pops into my head. I said, I don't know if this applies to you at all. I said, but do you have some connection with fairies? And she goes, oh my God. And I said, what? And she said, when I was a little kid, I would visit my grandmother on the East Coast and we would sit in the backyard and watch the fireflies. And she told me they were fairies. I haven't thought about that in so long. Thank you so much for reconnecting me with my grandmother.
Aw, see? That's why I'm saying you should definitely be sharing this information. Again, be discerning who you share it with.
Yeah.
But you should be, because you don't know, like you made her, like, yes, you're massaging her or Reikiing her. And so, that's going to help heal her body. But you just helped with her spirit and her soul.
Yeah.
And
I don't know if her grandmother was bringing that up to me, or I don't know where it came from. It's not my job. Frankly, it's not my job to know where it comes from. But it's like, I'm so glad I shared that, because it was like, it also gave me that validation of, there's a guy standing at the foot of the table in a trench coat and a hat. Any idea who oh my God, it's my grandfather. I've not been wrong much. Now, I don't do this all the time. This is not, as your profession is not quite as, I don't do it often, but when I do, it tends to be pretty accurate. Yeah. And that makes me I'm really grateful for that and thankful that I get to provide that for my clients. And it's sort of that validation of now when something comes in, I go, okay, hang on, let me figure out how to phrase this.
Yes, exactly.
Fairies, I couldn't have made that shit up.
No, you can't.
I couldn't
That's
have
what's so wonderful about this.
So, good. This was lovely. Downloads. All right. So if you're getting them, share them discerningly. If you want them, don't try, be accepting, allow that stillness and that spaciousness for them. And also, I think we can ask for things we want. So during your meditation or before you go to sleep or in your affirmations, write down that that's something you'd like to start receiving.
Yeah.
And who knows where that'll go. So yay.
Absolutely.
I'm Kathy Gruver. I can be reached at kathygruver.coach.
And I'm Terry Huberman. You can reach me at terryhuberman.com. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode. And we're so excited to bring you another episode, and we'll catch you soon.
See you next week.